wilderness landscapes, both majestic and subtle, give home and sustenance to the Earth's unfathomable diversity. Within and beyond a human lifetime, it lives, moving to its own rhythm. In an era where we are vastly changing the Earth, wilderness areas become more precious than ever. New Mexicans prize our wild lands for the habitat they provide and the spiritual space that nurtures us.
They're really the only place that you can go to get away from modern civilization and from motorized and mechanized activities, to experience awe and humility, wonder, amazement, to be connected to where we came from.
I always tell my coworkers that it's the best kind of counseling or psychological help you could ever have. It's just a completely amazing existential experience.
Wilderness is really a part of our history in New Mexico. You can't separate out the idea of wilderness and who we are as a state. It was here that in the 1920s, Aldo Leopold worked to set aside the very first wilderness, the Gila. And also, New Mexico played a huge role with our Senate delegation in the passage of the Wilderness Act in 1964.
We have to protect the elements of our life support system. That's what the wilderness, the wild, the natural world, the fabric of the living systems that together makes a world that works in our favor.
For thousands of years, the animals and nature has provided for human beings. And now we're at a point to where we're killing Mother Earth and we're killing our nature and our natural environment, asking why should people be worried about wilderness? Well, the question should be, why should we be worried about the future?
The New Mexico Wilderness Alliance, known as New Mexico Wild, is an independent, homegrown, statewide grassroots organization dedicated to the protection, restoration, and continued respect of New Mexico's wildlands.
Among the people we work with are people who enjoy being out on the land through hiking, camping, backpacking. We work with sportsmen, hunters and anglers. We work with teachers and students and youth groups. We work with scientists, businesses. We work with decision makers.
I think the New Mexico Wilderness Alliance plays a very valuable role. They've been an important partner. They're very good at pulling all stakeholders together.
Among its high-profile successes is the designation of the Rio Grande del Norte National Monument in Taos County.
It's a good thing that this happened because, this is for our community, for our kids, and, it's going to be forever.
This designation protects a part of New Mexico that should be preserved for future generations, part of our history, our culture, traditions. It's a magical day, a special day, and we look forward to seeing more people coming to visit and bringing economic opportunity to the community.
Another significant victory is the designation of the Organ Mountains Desert Peaks National Monument in Doña Ana County.
I was born and raised in this area, and to know that my daughter will have lands that are going to be protected for her and all of our other kids.
It's very important to our tribal members to hear something like this.
Throughout New Mexico Wild is defending and expanding protection for wild places. As part of its efforts to protect the greater Gila region, volunteers inventory the Gila River to document the attributes that justify greater protection.
The reason why we're doing this, as many of you know, is because there is a proposed project, and there's been numerous proposed projects over the last 30, 40 years to dam and divert the Gila River. Wild and scenic river designation would prevent that from ever happening.
When it comes to wild and scenic attributes, it's pretty hard to beat, where we were today in the Middle Fork of the Gila River.
It's absolutely stunning. It's a true treasure for the state of New Mexico and the country. Something like the Gila is just a perfect example of an untamed waterway that should just be protected for all eternity.
When members come out on our outings and our inventory trips, they're just elated with joy. They say, look, we're just hiking and we're making a difference at the same time. Best thing ever.
New Mexico Wild is educating citizens to support whole, intact ecosystems and coexistence with wolves and all wildlife.
More wolves, less politics. More wolves, less politics.
We're deeply concerned about the viability of the recovery effort. There are fewer than 100 Mexican gray wolves in the wild right now. We have a big fight on our hands. We're going to do everything in our power to make sure that the recovery efforts are successful. We're going to organize, and we're going to need your help.
Wildlands face many threats, including development, illegal road building, off-road vehicles, mining, fracking, climate change, and by efforts to seize public lands. There is an unprecedented assault on our national public lands by powerful forces inside and outside government that wish to sell off our cultural and natural heritage to the highest bidder.
They would be sold off for commercial development and be lost forever.
Our generation needs to step up and speak for our public lands. That those elected officials just want to hand over to private owners. We'll not give up, we'll not stop. These public lands should stay accessible to our children, our grandchildren, our great-grandchildren, and on and on.
You see the state go through these budget difficulties, and it would be the most natural thing in the world if the state owned or managed these lands to sell these off the next time there was a budget crunch. It's not something that we can ignore, and we have to really get people to turn out, to take it seriously, and to stand with us to fight it.
In a political environment characterized by unprecedented hostility to the very notion of environmental protection, conservation, and public lands, you can do your part to safeguard water, wildlife, and wilderness for future generations by supporting New Mexico Wild today. Members and volunteers are the heart of New Mexico Wild. Volunteer opportunities meet real needs and at the same time foster the next generation of passionate stewards of our national public lands. These experiences create lifelong citizen conservationists. More than removing a corral, volunteers are opening access to the Sabinoso wilderness.
The Sabinoso wilderness has been landlocked, so there has been no public access. This service project is designed to remove some of that infrastructure so that we can turn it over to the wilderness preservation system.
I think it's really cool that all these people have the opportunity to come out here to a space that's previously been unopened, and we can all come out here and volunteer and then get to check out the wilderness area. I mean, we're one of the first people out here, so.
I think it's awesome. I think it's really great that there's so many kids, especially youth from my class, that came out to do this. It's something that everybody should experience.
It's one of the most important conservation efforts is education. It has to be. Just spend time out here. You get to see why it's so amazing. I think they can't not leave this place and hold it here, you know?
Conserving public land isn't just good for clean air, healthy watersheds, and wildlife habitats. It's also good business.
New Mexico has a huge outdoor recreation economy, about $6 billion a year in terms of tourists coming and visit. A segment of that has a lot to do with our beautiful landscapes, our out-of-doors experiences, hunting, fishing, all of those kinds of things, just wildlife viewing. These special places are there not only for New Mexicans, but they attract people from outside and help our economy here in New Mexico.
New Mexico's rich cultural heritage is deeply connected to the land. Traditional practices such as hunting, fishing, and urban piñon gathering date back centuries and continue today. The land is valued for its cultural resources and sacred sites.
I'm just proud of the Alliance, the people in New Mexico that work on environmental issues, that work on these cultural issues, having them all work together. And we're a multicultural state, pulling all the cultures together to work through these issues. Tremendously important.
If you love a place, protect it. It's going to take all of us working together to stand up, to fight for these places that we love so much. Each of us needs to do our part.
Please join us in becoming an advocate for New Mexico wilderness. Support wilderness protection and the wildlife that depend upon it.
These are your public lands, and they're something that you can pass on to your kids and your grandkids, and defending them is uniquely American and patriotic.
Clinton P. Anderson, New Mexico's great senator, said, "Wilderness is our anchor to windward." And with all the changes going on in the world today, we need that anchor to windward more than we ever did before.
The decisions we make about caring for the natural world in the next 10 years are the most important that we'll make in the next 10,000 years. Either we will get on the right track or we'll fail to do so and lose the best opportunity we'll ever have, not just to ensure the future of the wild, but to ensure the human future along with it.